Hi, this is a message for referendum party supporters and would-be voters, and it's an important message to do with developments that have occurred this week around the IEC and the registration process for the 2024 elections. The referendum party is what's called an unrepresented party, which means that we don't currently have a person in either the provincial parliament or the national parliament, as we're a new party. And the Electoral Amendment Act, which was passed last year in April, meant that parties like us then had to, in effect, get 13,200 signatures from people to show that there was sufficient support to justify us standing in the elections. Now, the rules around that weren't immediately made clear. The law said that the signatures must be collected in a prescribed manner, but there was no prescribed manner, and part of the reason for that is there were a number of court cases that were going on at the time, which left it up in the air. So we had to decide what to do. We contacted the IEC, and in August last year, they confirmed that we could collect these signatures digitally. And that was really important to us because as a party, one of our primary mediums of communication is digitally. It is online. And therefore, that makes much more sense for us to collect these signatures digitally than having to go around in person, which is obviously a huge obligation for small parties such as ourselves and outside of our normal means of canvassing. And the IEC confirmed to us in writing that they were willing to accept digital signatures. Just to make absolutely sure, there was another Concourt judgment in December, on the 4th of December, and we then wrote to the IEC again and confirmed that we intended to collect our signatures digitally as we'd been advised for them and as was necessary. And we gave the IEC, it was a formal letter, and we gave the IEC a deadline, about 14 or 15 days, to come back to us and say, if this isn't an acceptable method, they must let us know. And the IEC didn't respond to us on that basis. So we pressed ahead, and we've now collected all of these signatures with the IEC's express consent that we could collect them online using digital signatures. On Tuesday of this week, the IEC announced that they were no longer willing to accept digital signatures and asked us to collect 14,000 physical signatures within the next 10 days. Now, this is absolutely impossible, and there is no way that we can collect those signatures in that time frame. And if the IEC sticks to that arrangement, then we will not be able to contest the 2024 elections. And it will be as a direct result of the IEC giving us one instruction and then doing something else entirely. And to be absolutely clear, the law does not require physical signatures. The IEC have created this obligation, and they only created that obligation this week. And therefore, it's an impossible situation, and one that clearly we cannot accept and cannot tolerate. Now, we're not the only political party that's in this situation. We've spoken to a number of other political parties and found that they are all, or many of them, are in exactly the same situation, and now we're going to act together. So the course of action is, so first of all, I want to say to our supporters, please don't panic. We'll get this resolved. We're just making this video to inform you of what happened so that there is no need to panic. We're absolutely certain that we will get this issue resolved. In the first instance, we've instructed a legal team, and our legal team is currently preparing a letter which will be sent to the IEC today, and laying out why this is a totally unreasonable act, that it's in contravention with the intent of the law, and obviously, they gave us express instructions which they're now going against, which obviously is completely unreasonable and will result in an election that is no longer free and fair if they persist with this. And we are hoping and expecting, ironically, that the IEC will accept that argument and will relent, and therefore this issue will be quickly settled. In the unlikely event that the IEC digs in its heels, even when it's presented with the evidence that it gave us a written instruction that we could do this, then together with some of those other parties, and that group's growing by the day, but there's a significant number of parties, then we will file a case in the electoral court requesting that the IEC is then forced to accept digital signatures in the manner that we've corrected, which is entirely consistent with both the letter of the legislation and its intent. So that was just an update. Please don't worry. This is going to get sorted. It's frustrating. It's unnecessary, but we are absolutely certain that we will ultimately compete in the 2024 elections. And hopefully this will just help galvanize our supporters around this cause and realize just how important it is that we have this opportunity to vote for a referendum on Cape independence, because we're voting for one of these two futures, and we're either going to end up in a failed state with South Africa, or we can live in a first world country. It's absolutely critical that people have the opportunity to vote for a first world future, and voting for the Referendum Party to deliver that, because to deliver this referendum on Cape independence, which will then give us the opportunity of making the decisions for ourselves which are necessary to deliver the first world future for the betterment of all of the people of the Western Cape. Thank you.